Hey everybody, Rez the Collector here, and today I bring you a special end of year video. Now, tonight is December 20th of 2014, and we have reached the end of another year. And so let the top 10 videos commence. I know they're going to be coming out for probably quite a few of us, and I wanted to go ahead and get mine filmed. Now, 2014 was a very up and down year for us as collectors. There were great pieces that came out and pieces that came out that we had been waiting for so long for that were just huge disappointments, whether that be sculpting wise, quality control wise. There was such a big variance. We had those ups with some of the stuff that we're going to look at here, and downs with some of the stuff like the Earth 2 Superman, the animated Superman from the Justice League War. There were, figures that came out and statues that came out that just didn't quite make the grade. And then, of course, like I said, there's figures that came out or statues that came out that were just amazing and jaw-dropping. So tonight we're going to look at my top 10 collectibles from 2014. Now, these collectibles are going to span different companies and different types, whether that be figure or statue. All of that's coming into my top 10. So it's not just going to be figures, it's not just going to be statues, it's going to be a mixture of both. It's going to be from pretty much every company that, all the major companies that we get licenses from for DC, which is, of course, DC Collectibles, Mattel, Kotobukiya. So we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff from a lot of the different companies. Now, to start us off, I want to start us off with just a couple of honorable mentions that were really close to making my top 10, but just didn't quite get in there. Now, the first honorable mention that we have is the Total Heroes Mattel Steel figure. This was a figure I was very shocked by. I was quite ecstatic when I first saw some of the other collectors posting images of him. The Total Heroes line is a very basic line, but for the character of Steel, the body sculpts for Total Heroes is extremely fitting, and this is one of my favorite figures of the year. They just did such a great job on the design of him. It's a fantastic add to anybody's collection, and he just got eked out. He was actually, right before I started to film, he was actually in the top 10. He was number 10, but he was in there until I looked over and spotted another piece, and I was like, oh my god, how is that not in my top 10? And then he got bumped. So he was right there, he was squeaking in, and then he just got bumped, and I'll let you know the piece that bumped him when we get to that. So that is our first honorable mention. Our second honorable mention is also a Mattel figure, the Christopher Reeve Superman multiverse figure. Now, this I think is one of the figures that people loved or hated, or I guess it would span all three: love, indifference, or hate. Not the best made figure, not the prettiest figure, and definitely some of its size proportions, such as the S, definitely aren't movie accurate, let's say. He's getting an honorable mention because it is a Christopher Reeve figure. And anything based on that man is going to get an honorable mention. So these did come out in 2014. This was a chase figure for quite a while. They were only getting them in certain regions of the country. I way overpaid for mine at Chicago Comic-Con. I wish I had waited, because you can find them for like 10 bucks on Amazon now. But when I saw it, I had to have it. It was one of the things that I was searching Chicago Comic-Con for. I only found one dealer that had it, and I bought 2 of them, and I way overpaid. But definitely getting an honorable mention because it is a Christopher Reeve based figure. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. The top 10. Number 10, the DC Collectibles Bizarro New 52. Now, the New 52 is another one of those things that invokes strong emotions in DC fans. Whether it be fans of the comics themselves or collectors, people are very emotional about the New 52. Now, the new version of Bizarro, as you can see, is quite different than any other Bizarro that we have ever seen before. Bizarro typically has a pale skin tone and looks more like a corpse generally than anything else. This Bizarro was basically a combination of the New 52 Superman looks. He started out with the t-shirt, of course, and then Superman got his armor. So in this Bizarro, we see the combination of those looks. He's got the belt and the lower legs of the armored Superman and the top of the t-shirt. They also stuck with the regular Superman primary colors. This figure, I know people had some QC issues with. For once, thankfully, I was not one of those. I had enough QC issues of my own this year. But I know a lot of people had issues with arm breakage, leg breakage. A couple people I know had head issues with this guy. But the sculpt on him is amazing. The face, the hair, the way they did the textured skin. DC Collectibles, in my opinion, really hit it out of the park with Bizarro. Just the facial expression, the light blue, kind of like iceberg eyes on him, the sculpting of the chest, the way the ab crunch is, everything was spot on for me on this figure. I really loved it, and he is definitely my number 10. Number 9 on our list is another DC Collectibles. It is the Earth 2 Princess Diana Wonder Woman figure. Now, I've really got to say that the ladies of DC really shined this year. The collectibles that they put out with their female characters were really, really nicely done. And one of the best of those is this Wonder Woman figure. Her sculpt is amazing. The paint choices and color scheme are just flat out like mesmerizing, and she's kind of brushing up against the back of the display there. Okay, great. She's definitely not the only female that's on this top 10 today, but she is our first one. This was one of the best figures to come out of the entire Earth 2 line. Of course, there's only one figure that's going to top that, and that is coming up further down in our countdown. But her sculpt, the sword that she came with, the face on her, the armor, everything is spot on and just amazing to behold. She's definitely a great addition to anybody's collection, whether you collect just DC in general or female DC, Justice League, even if you're like me, who's primarily, you know, a one-character collector who just kind of branches out. And I've been branching out a lot more lately. Definitely, this was one of my best pickups of the year. I do have 2 over. I've got one still in package. And, of course, I've got this one loose on display. And she is flat out amazing. I highly recommend this figure to anybody out there who wants a representation of Wonder Woman in their collection. This one is the perfect blend of old and new. You get that feeling of the classic Wonder Woman with the new 52, new stylized upgrade. The armor's amazing. The entire sculpt is just great to behold, and as good as she looks here, she's even better in hand. and that is the reason that she made the top 10. She is number 9 on my list. Number 8 on our list is another outing by DC Collectibles. This is from the first series of the Greg Capullo designer series, and it is, of course, the Talon figure. Out of the Capullo series, there were only 2 figures that I really wanted, and that was Talon and Nightwing. I had no really want for Riddler, and I have enough New 52 Batmans to last me forever. But this Talon figure was awesome. Just seeing the sculpt, I knew I had to have this figure. I'm not a huge collector of villains. I have picked up quite a few this year, especially if you're looking at like the Crime Syndicate. And then of course Bizarro, and then a couple of others. But Talon was a absolute must-have. Even before I got him in hand, I knew I had to have him. The sculpt is amazing. The detail that DC Collectibles put into this figure is just mind-blowing. Each one of those little knives across the chest does come out of that little bandolier. The amount of accessories that you get with him alone, he's got 2 knives like he has in his left hand, he's got 2 swords, he's got the mask, he's got each one of those little blades that comes out. He's got great articulation. There is no head articulation to speak of, and I'm completely fine with that, because if they put in head articulation, it would have taken away from that amazing sculpt, and there's just no justifiable reason to take away from that sculpt, because it is absolutely perfect. Now, mine does get a little loose in the ab crunch, but I'm not worried about that. It's a beautiful figure. Just that arm guard where he's holding the knife there, is just flat out amazing. I love that. That alone drew me to the figure at first, was just that cool arm guard, and then the rest of it just blew me away. And he was definitely making my top 10 list, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him on a lot of collectors' top 10. I know a lot of people are using him to army build, and I do not blame them. If I had the money, I would definitely pick up more of this figure, because building an army of Talons would be epic, very, very cool, and make for some very cool dynamic displays, or articulated comic book art, however you want to say it. That is, of course, trademarked, not by me, but dynamic display, articulated comic art, however you want to say it. If you wanted to army build, this is the perfect villain to do it with, because it would just look so great, and I've seen people do it, and it looks fantastic. So that is the number 8 figure, Talon, from DC Collectibles Capullo Designer Series number 1. Number 7 on our list is another lady from the DC Universe, and another piece from DC Collectibles. And I swear, we do have some pieces coming up that are not from DC Collectibles, though it does dominate the majority of our list. 8 out of the 10 pieces are DC Collectibles releases. This, of course, is Superwoman from the New 52 Crime Syndicate. Now, the Crime Syndicate for the New 52 does consist of 7 members, and you had to purchase them separately, and it came in 6 packages. Those members, of course, are Ultraman, Superwoman, Owlman, Johnny Quick, Power Ring, and Deathstorm. And Johnny Quick came with the miniature Atomica figure, which is the evil version of Adam, and of course female. Now, out of those figures, the best figure to come out of the Crime Syndicate, in my opinion, was Superwoman. The sculpt on her is fantastic. The face sculpt is beautiful. The hair is perfect. The articulation is amazing. I love everything about this figure. And there's people that I know purchased this figure based on my review of her. And one comment I made in particular is that she looks like a bitch. And damn it, she does. She looks like one powerful bitch, and it's beautiful to behold. This is an amazing figure. Again, like I said earlier, I'm not a huge collector of villains, but I definitely wanted the entire Crime Syndicate, and I was just as shocked as anybody else that once I picked them up, that my favorite was not Ultraman, the, of course, evil version of Superman, but Superwoman. Now, this, of course, is basically their Wonder Woman, though her secret identity is Lois Lane. I definitely recommend picking up this figure to any collector of Superman, or in general, if you want a powerful looking female figure for your collection. She is just amazing. You are not going to find many better representations of power than her. And of course, Superwoman is all about power. From that cape, which is removable, to the new stylized way they did the rest of her costume, she's perfect in every way. Number 6 on our list, another outing, of course, by DC Collectibles. This is one of my favorite pickups from 2014 Chicago Comic-Con, and it is, of course, the DC Collectibles Supergirl statue. This statue is just so... I don't even know how to explain it. It has a vitality to it. The amazing sculpture of the way her hair and her cape is blowing, the position of her hands, sorry for the shakiness here, but the coming off or landing, however you want to look at that, position of the feet. This statue just screams to me life and beauty, vitality, and power. This is a beautiful representation of the Maid of Might. It's a statue that I had wanted since the first moment I saw pictures of it, and the jealousy that rose up in me when I saw other collectors had it, and I hadn't yet got my hands on it. It was another piece that I was desperately looking for at Chicago Comic-Con, because I really wanted to really take a look at it in hand before I purchased it. I knew I wanted it, I knew I was going to get it, but I really had to see it first, and when I did, I fell in love immediately. This is one of the highlights of my collection. Now, I know a lot of people that collect Superman don't necessarily collect Supergirl things. They just want to stick with the Superman, but to anybody that's looking to branch out to the rest of the Superman family, this is a piece that I really recommend you pick up. It's about 11 inches tall, I think. So it is going to take up a little bit of space in your collection, but it's beautiful. The face, now, DC Collectibles has put out some bad Supergirl stuff. There is the Supergirl New 52 bust. I also own that, and that had come out in, I think, either 2012 or 2013. And the face on that is terrible. She looks like a 40-year-old hooker. With the makeup on that, that's terrible. It does. It really makes her look old. This one, though, she looks young. She looks happy. She looks full of power. It's just beautiful. So I definitely recommend picking this up. Hopefully, some of you collectors that do want it, maybe it's sitting under your tree right now, waiting to be opened on Christmas morning, or any other holiday that you may celebrate. I really hope that if you don't have it and you want it, that you're able to pick up this beautiful statue. And it is, of course, number 6 in my list. Number 5 on my list, the Earth 2 Gray Bruce Wayne Batman. Now, not only is this on my top 10 for 2014, it is one of the best Batman figures in my collection, and it is the only Earth 2 figure to be even better than the Wonder Woman. Everything about this figure is badass, from his gothic armor to the color palette and his fighting staffs. This Batman is just badass and needs to be in everyone's collection. If you're a Batman collector, you definitely own this figure. I do have two of them because I wanted the Trinity both in and out of package. So I did mention earlier that I've got the Wonder Woman in and out. I also have him, and unfortunately the Earth 2 Superman, I have two of those as well. Though the one I have in the package of the Earth 2 has a really craptastic paint job. But this guy is as perfect as you're going to get from DC Collectibles. The spikes, like I said, that gothic armor, the sculpting on the cape. The moment I saw this guy come up, I knew that I had to have him. Now, this was actually the second Batman Earth 2 to be announced and released. The first one was the Thomas Wayne red and black Batman. Now, when I first saw that, I had been harping basically at DC Collectibles wanting the Earth 2 Superman because I was a really big fan of the costume and the look. And I wanted the Earth 2 Batman as well. And then when they first announced an Earth 2 Batman, it was the red and black version. I was really disappointed because the gray version was just freaking awesome. And then, of course, the release announcement came a little bit later that we were getting the gray version as well. Of course, the red and black was released first, and then we got the gray, but he was definitely worth the wait. Everything about this figure screams badass Batman, and that is definitely why he is number 5 on my list. Number 4, and finally not a DC Collectibles piece, this is the Kotobukiya Japanese import Supergirl statue. Now, this statue perfectly pairs with the new 52 Kotobukiya Superman. They've got very, very stylized poses to them. They fit perfectly together. They come on these little black bases here. Of course, the Superman says Justice League on it because he was part of the Kotobukiya initial run, which was the Justice League characters. And then they started branching out into the rest of the new 52 DC line. Since then, they've released Batgirl, there's a Damian Wayne coming, quite a few others that aren't bearing the Justice League logo on them, but are still amazing pieces. And this, of course, was a must-have for me. This Kotobukiya Supergirl is perfect. Her sculpting is amazing. Whoever did the face did a wonderful job on it, and it's a perfect representation of that amazing new Supergirl costume that they gave her in the new 52. Another piece that is a must-have, and I know I've said this about pretty much everything on this list, but this is my top 10, so all of these pieces are must-haves for me, and if you're smart, they're must-haves for you too. Very reasonably priced, especially around this time of year when there's a lot of sales during Christmas. If you are planning on picking her up, now is the time to do it, and as you can see, my rotating display is starting to either catch a little bit because it's cheap and I need to put some more oil on the rotating portion, or my battery's dying. Either way, she's starting to slow down. But beautiful, beautiful piece. Can be got from anywhere from $30 to $40 right now. I highly recommend picking it up. The Kotobukiyas are always going to be amazing sculpts, amazing investments, and perfect additions to your collection, and that is why she is number 4 on my list. Alright guys, we are down to the top 3 spaces, and number 3, of course, is the Mattel San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Well, you could eventually get it off the Matty Collector website, but the San Diego Comic-Con Doomsday in his containment suit. This was the huge must-have for collectors for 2014. All of us were just basically drooling over this guy, trying to get him in our collections. The packaging alone is fantastic, and then you get the figure in hand, and it is just so magnificent. He is gigantic. Just to show you a size comparison, this, of course, we saw earlier is the DC Multiverse Superman. You can see how small he is compared to this Doomsday. and he towers over 6-inch figures as well, perfectly in scale for what he should be, for what he was in the comic books. This, of course, is also a figure I was talking about earlier. This is who bumped Steel. I had sat down to do this video, and where I'm doing my reviews now is right next to my big display case. And I looked over and I saw him standing in there, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? How is this guy not in my top 10? How did I overlook him? So Steel got bumped from number 10, and Doomsday got brought in and bumped everyone else back when he was put in the number 3 position. Now, I'm saying this is my top 10 of 2014. I do have 2 more figures coming that are technically released in 2014, though I don't have them in hand yet. One of them is the Unleashed version of this figure from Mattel. Unfortunately, as myself and everybody else knows who's ordered it, Mattel sold figures they did not have in hand, even though their website said in stock. They have stated that they were having problems with the Port of Los Angeles, that there was a strike. However, the strike ended before the figure was released, I think. I bought the figure on November the 26th, so I purchased it almost 1 month ago. And still nothing. I have, of course, my order confirmation, but nothing has shipped yet. Now, any inquiries made to Matty Collector Mattel is basically stating the issues with the Port of Los Angeles, and they assure everybody that they're going to ship before the holidays. Of course, we are now 5 days before Christmas, and nothing. Now, a very select few people, most likely those who were subscribers and got the early release, do have them. Mattel must have had a small number of them on hand, but have since then claimed that there's, of course, problems with them coming across the Pacific and getting them to the distribution centers. So, because I don't have that figure in hand, and I probably won't until after the new year, he is not going to be included on this list. However, if I did have him in hand, most likely he would have bumped another piece off the list, most likely what was in the number 10 spot. After he was added, the containment suit, which was Bizarro, he would have ended up getting bumped, and the Unleashed version would have made it on this list as well. Would have kind of been a little weird having both of them on, but both of them being such epic figures, the Containment and the Unleashed, I'm sure they would have both been on this list. Now, the other figure I have, which is a 2014 release coming, is the Damian Wayne Robin figure. He has actually shipped and could possibly be here before Christmas. But in looking at the stuff that I do have in my top 10, I'm doubting that he would make it. Now, he's going to be a very cool figure. I need him to finish off my Batman collection, but I don't think he would have made it in my top 10. So that's why I'm going ahead and doing the video now, because my top 10 right now is what it would be after Damian arrives, most likely. Now, of course, every collector has their moments, and every day I could walk into my collection room and point to 10 different figures and say, that's my top 10 for that day. And the next day I might come in and look and be like, oh God, what about this guy? Oh yeah, I love that one. And the top 10 would change. Now, most likely it's pretty set, I would say, right now in what we have. I would say that there might be some shifting of numbers, maybe some shifting in and out of figures, but it's a pretty good top 10 as it stands. There wouldn't be a whole lot of shifting, but I wouldn't say there couldn't be. And maybe once I have him in hand, Damian could make it in there. I'm sure he's going to be epic. He's going to be great. I'm going to love having him in my collection, but he is not here yet. So, top 10 stands as it is. Down to the top 3, as I said. Number 3, of course, the Containment Suit, San Diego Comic-Con, Doomsday. A beautiful figure, huge, gonna take up space in your collection, but he is worth it. Number 2, another outing from DC Collectibles, the Icons Superman statue. This, of course, is the new 52, and it's, like I said, from the Icon series. Now, there is also some icons of the Man of Steel. They have pretty much identical poses. I don't own any of those. I do have a few Man of Steel collectibles, but this was a absolutely must purchase for myself and any serious Superman collector. The sculpting on him is perfect. That new 52 costume really shines here, and I just don't mean that because the metallic paint. I mean the way that it's done in this statue just really highlights what's great about this new costume. Now myself, like a lot of other Superman fans, had some reservations about the new costume. We first heard about it way back in 2010, 2011. But in seeing this right here, you cannot deny that this is Superman. And as the name suggests, it is iconic. Just the look on his face, the pose, the expression that says I can take on anything that not only this planet, these villains, but this universe can throw at me, because I am Superman, I am the first, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, and I will whoop the shit out of you. This statue is about 1 foot tall. Like a lot of pieces, it's going to take up some room in your collection, but it is extremely reasonably priced at about $100. Of course, this time of year you can find it cheaper. I've seen it going for as low as like 80 or 70 something on Amazon, so I would definitely look into that. Now, when I first purchased the statue, I had some issues with the cape I didn't quite like on it. Since then, though, I've been able to overlook that and just be taken in by how amazing the statue itself is. I picked up quite a few statues in 2014. Some of them we saw, such as the Supergirl ones, this one, and the Man of Steel line, and some older statues I was able to get my hands on. But few are as epic and as iconic as the Superman icon statue. That, of course, is #2. Stay tuned, folks, because we got #1 coming right now. #1. This is the statue that we were all waiting for. Every single image released for this had every collector that I know of, every Superman collector, and even the non-Superman collectors drooling over. This is, of course, the DC Collectibles Kenneth Rocafort Man of Steel statue. A lot of people have questioned the choice of doing these all in the metallic paint, and I agree, in some of the statues it doesn't make sense. But this statue is perfect. There's no other way that this could look any better. Now, myself and a few other collectors did have some quality control issues with this statue off the jump. Now, mainly that was on this extended hand. There were some issues where the hand was either not painted or had some extra molding on it. And both myself and another one of my good friends who's a collector ended up returning our statues and getting replacements because of this issue. My replacement statue, which is the one you see before us, is perfect. There is no other piece that came out in 2014 that better represents the Man of Steel than this statue right here. The pose is full of energy. It's dynamic. He's coming down, he's got that fist, he's got that hand extended, the expression, the sculpting on the costume, the armor lines, the black S on the cape itself is perfection. The Kenneth Rocafort statue is the must-have Superman collectible from 2014. Now, of course, this top 10 has not just been Superman collectibles. Of course, the majority of them have been Superman or Superman family related, but no matter if this list was going to be my entire collection or just Superman, there was no other piece that was going to take the top spot. The Rocafort statue is the piece de resistance, the best of the best. It is the piece that you had to have in 2014, and if you don't own it, you need to now. Don't just take my word for it. You can ask any of the collectors in any of the forums or on Facebook which is one of their favorite statues, if not their favorite statue from the Man of Steel line. And I guarantee you almost all of them are going to say the Kenneth Rocafort, because it's just amazing. Everybody who owns this statue just drools over it, is in love with it, and it's one of the favorite pieces in their collection. So there you guys have it. This was 2014. A list that was difficult to put together, I gotta be honest. There are things that didn't make the list. I had a big old list of stuff here, as you can see, and I kept changing numbers and going back and forth. There's stuff that was on here that got bumped, like the Total Heroes Bizarro. Very cool Bizarro figure, but didn't make the list. The Harley Quinn from the beginning of the year with the pigtails and the big hammer, awesome figure, didn't make the list though. Batgirl, Red Robin, Nightwing from the Capullo series. I picked up a lot of figures in 2014, a lot of statues, and while the majority of them were great, only the best of the best for making this list for me. Now this, of course, is my personal opinion. These are my top 10. Yours might be completely different, and you know, you can't fault anybody for their opinion. We're all different types of collectors, whether you're a Superman collector, a Batman collector, a Robin collector, or if you have some kind of mental deficiency and you collect Marvel stuff. We all love what we love, and that's just the way it is. I personally am looking forward to seeing a lot of my friends and fellow YouTubers top 10 videos, because I'm sure that they're coming. And I will be sitting down and enjoying every one of those, because they're going to explain why they love what they love. And, you know, it's great seeing their opinion. It's great seeing how they rank things. And it's just good entertainment for all of us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that if there's some pieces on here you didn't own, maybe this inspired you to go out and get, or helped to convince you that this is a piece that you want, or maybe you just want to send me hate mail because I'm an idiot and you don't like any of my choices. But they're my opinions, so screw you. Just kidding, guys. I want to thank every one of you guys for watching. Please rate, comment, and if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. I've definitely got a lot of reviews coming. I am really got a backlist of reviews that need to be done, and I am working on that. Of course, I do have that Doomsday figure coming. I've got Damian Wayne coming, so we're going to be taking close looks at those once they come in. And of course, if you see anything in my collection that I haven't reviewed and you would like me to review, let me know. I do reviews on demand. It's a special series that I have. Quite a few people have requested different reviews, and I get those done as soon as possible. So you see something, let me know. I'll get it done for you. This is Rez the Collector. Have a Happy New Year. And Happy Holidays. And, yeah.